This is the Confidence Academy podcast. My name is Lilli Babcock and I am a transformational confidence coach, and I'm here with a message for you. The anxiety and overwhelm you've been experiencing is not something to be feared or avoided. It's also not something that gets to define who you are as a person. No matter who you are, no matter what your story is, I know that you get to live a life of fulfillment and joy. It's my absolute pleasure to bring this podcast series to you in collaboration with some phenomenal people from all over the world who have walked the same path as you. Together, we will share our stories, our challenges, and our triumphs, with the intention of helping you to see that it's possible for you too. Anxiety may be something you live with, but it doesn't get to define who you are or how you live your life. So stand by for some powerful conversations, deep realizations, and the occasional F-bomb. So get those headphones in if you're around sensitive ears, and stand by. This is going to be fun. Hello, welcome to the Confidence Academy podcast, or I should say welcome back to the Confidence Academy podcast. My name is Lilli, and today I am joined by Caroline Abonde. Did I say that right?
Yes, perfect.
And Caroline is all the way over in Sweden, so I'm really excited because I think you are the first person from Sweden to be on my podcast, so welcome.
Yay. I feel honored.
No, the honour is all mine. I'm so excited to have you here. So Caroline is joining us today to really just open this conversation up about anxiety, as we always do on these episodes. And Caroline, this is something that you have had personal experience with, and like me, you are now at a point where you're still navigating your own journey at times, but you're also very happy to reach out and help others, and you're actually now coaching other people and helping them to navigate their own journeys with anxiety. Yes. So would you like to just start by telling us who you are, what you do, and just let us know your story and tell us how you came to do the work that you're doing and why you're so passionate about helping other people to overcome their anxiety?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so honored to be here. And as I told you before, please mind my Swinglish because it's not. Please, but I'm so. Thank you so much for having me and being so relaxed and just being so welcome and having me on this podcast. It feels really. I think you. It was a few months ago, and you put out on Facebook, if anyone has a story to share, please, please contact you. And I did, and you said, yeah, we hear back from you in June. So my story I'm so passionate about this, because I want people to feel normal about anxiety and depression and all of these states that you can be in. Like, anxiety is, I don't want to normalize it in the way that it doesn't mean anything, but it shouldn't be the big stigma it is around
right.
it.
Yeah, get the conversation started, and you're right. So many people hide from it because it's almost like I don't know if it's a shame thing. I just think it's like people think that other people aren't suffering. I know for me, like when I was having my panic attacks, for example, I was utterly convinced that I was the only one and that nobody I knew would ever understand. And of course, when I did start to speak about it, like almost everyone I know has had it on some level at some point. And, and I've said this before on the podcast, it's like we're all, walking around trying to pretend like everything's rosy and we're all fine. And in the background, we're all struggling. And yet we don't talk to each other because we're still trying to put up this front of everything's okay and I don't need the help. So conversations like this are so important, and I'm honoured that you've come on to share your story.
Thank you.
To let people know that they're not on their own, and that and that it's something you can thrive in spite of it. You can get through it, you can manage it. In some cases you can overcome it, and more than that there is support out there, and there are people out there who understand you and who have been in your shoes and want to help.
Yes, because that's what it's about. It's so many layers to it. It's not just you're having an anxiety attack or you're not. It's so many layers. It's so
Right.
many layers. And for me, it started, I think, about when I was 11 or 12. I had my first. I've been as we all have, been. I want to be the good girl, always behave, always live up to that. And it started very early. Due to separation in between my parents and grown up with with a single mother, and she had her own problems, and I had to grow up very early. So I think it was around when I was 12, I was sexually, there's a Swinglish again, sexually abused for almost a year from a neighbor who was many years older. And my mom was not home so much, so me and my younger sister, we were taking care of each other for a few months. And this guy, he came over a few times, or many times actually, during 1 year there, and I felt there and then I had to take responsibility, because I couldn't let my mother know that she you put on so much in front of your parents, and you don't want to make them upset or sad for being bad parents and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
so you took that responsibility on yourself, having been through it yourself. You were still, and this is so common, I think, people are, even in the darkest times, often anxiety sufferers are still worrying about everyone else around them and taking care of them, and thinking, oh, well, as much as I'm struggling, I don't want to burden that person, and I don't want to, how are they going to feel if I tell them that I've been through this or that I'm feeling that? And I think
so often,
very common.
Exactly. Often I think people who are dealing with anxiety are extremely strong at the same time. So it's so two-faced. It's like you're feeling weak on the inside, but you're very, very strong on the outside.
Yeah.
So that's like the opposite of each other, and that's so weird to live in that.
It's exhausting. It's really exhausting. It's like carrying something heavy around all day, and the minute you even getting on the phone with somebody, it doesn't even have to be face to face, but you suddenly have to put that mask back on and change your voice tone, and actually, in my experience, I didn't even realize that I was doing this until I started seeing my hypnotherapist, and we started kind of uncovering, what was at the root of my panic attacks. I didn't realize that actually I was spending almost all of my time trying to fend off these negative thoughts and these negative emotions, and the whole time I was in resistance to it. So that's like trying to push something heavy up a hill, At no point could I just relax and let go. I was clinging on so tightly and trying to create this different experience for fear of letting what I called my dark side out, because I just thought I don't even know what's going to happen when that happens. And it was only when she kind of pointed it out that I was like, oh my God, I always thought I was a really positive person, and it turns out I'm actually not. I'm actually pretty negative. But I choose positivity. But it's like a constant thing, and it's exhausting. And I think this podcast is now my outlet, because I don't have to do that anymore. Like, everybody knows I have a dark side now. Like 58,000 people that listen to this podcast know I have a dark side now. So I don't feel like I have to put that front on anymore. But so many people do. And I think that in itself causes anxiety, doesn't it? It creates that imbalance.
Exactly, because I don't want I wrote something down before, and I was like, wow, that's good shit. I was just very, and for me, it was not, realize my anxiety is not owned by society. I didn't want my anxiety to be owned by society. I didn't want my anxiety to be owned by society. So that's how I started to change, but it was a long time before the change came. But so it was the abuse, and then it was growing up way too early. But still also that's still a part of me and who I am. So I'm grateful for it. So I have no shame in it anymore. But I had. So
so that's really key. That's actually really key, because I think a lot of people will resonate with that, and a lot of people will relate to this thing of, I have something in my past that I wish hadn't happened, or that they're running from. So how did you get from where you were to where you are now, where you're in a place where you can say, okay, it wasn't what I chose, but I release the shame and the guilt around that, and I actually am grateful because it's part of my journey, and now I choose to make it, like, you've empowered yourself because now you're owning that and you're saying, this is part of my journey and I choose to thrive. So how do you get to that point, given what you went through?
So it took a while. I tried to do the think positive, as you said, think positive, and do the affirmations, and look at the outside of people and comparing it with my inside, and it was never working. Of course, obviously, we know that it's not working. And I was, as you said, I started to share with my closest friends and because for many years I didn't want to have any friends. I blocked all my friends. I didn't have any friends because I didn't want friends. I didn't have any close connection with my family because I didn't want close connections. I didn't want anyone in my life. I just held my life for myself for so many years, and I ran a business, and it was really, really going well, but it wasn't true to me. So the business was separate from me, and that never felt right to me. So after many years of depression and anxiety, and I just felt I end my life or I create my own life. I cannot do the society life anymore. And so it got to this point where, when you lie in bed and you think, how on earth is anything going to ever be fun anymore in life?
Yeah.
So I got out of it by I read a lot of books. We already read a lot of books. We watch these clips on YouTube, and we do the work, and we doubt ourselves. And then one day I started to go back in life to connect the dots from where I actually had moments of time when everything felt it had a flow in it. It came with ease. I wanted ease in my life. I didn't want to struggle anymore. I was craving the ease, the flow. So I was going back 10, 15 years in life, and I had like 5 moments or 15 years I had flow in my life for just a day. I had 5 days almost, it felt like. And I wanted to dig deep to the ground where it came from and why I felt that, and that's where it all started. A few years ago. So yeah, digging deep for that feeling of just ease and flow and fun, and me fun, and not the society fun, me fun. What is good for me.
Yeah, and I actually love what you just said. It gave me chills when you said, I can end my life or I can create my life.
Yes.
That's so point. I got chills again when I just said it. It's so beautiful. And it's like, I mean, what amazing strength that you found. And I know that, like you said, you've said it already, that, often the strongest people don't feel like they're being strong, because your strength shows up in what you would perceive to be your weakest moment, like possibly when you are lying in bed thinking, how is this ever going to be okay? How am I ever going to, how am I ever going to see the light again? When is the darkness going to end? And yet you are being so unbelievably strong in that moment. And I think, your story is so inspiring. You mentioned earlier that you're writing books. I really hope that your book is your life story, because I just think it's so inspiring. Like, even if people don't resonate with it, with the detail of it, I just think that is it's so true for every single one of us.
Yes.
You can end your life or you can create it. And you have that ability. You do have that choice. And I know, so what would you say? Because I know that in those moments, it doesn't feel like there is a choice. How do you move forward when you don't feel like you have any choice, when you literally are at the end of your tether and you're thinking, I don't know how I'm going to put another foot in front of the other one?
That's so true, that you say you feel like you have no choice, because you almost don't have a choice, because you are not choosing, you are just being controlled of something stronger, or something, even you don't know what it is that controls you, and you have to take the control back, but not in a controlling way, more in a fun way, in a loose way,
It's release. Yeah, I was going to say it's release. It's it's the control is actually in letting go. I was using the analogy with someone the other day of sliding down a flume. So like these water slides, and I said that so many of us are going down the flume of life, looking back to the top and trying to climb back up when all the water is trying to push us the other way. And the control comes when you just throw your hands in the air and go, okay, let's see where this goes, and it's about trust and faith, isn't it? So how much has that played a part for you? Because I know for me, when I knew I was massively out of alignment was when I realized that I didn't believe in anything anymore. I literally lost all my faith in everything. And then I rediscovered it through over a number of months and years, and now it's extremely strong, and it's something that I call on daily. And that's not to say that I don't have challenges, but now the faith is there. I don't feel it feels like there's nothing I can't overcome. So how much did faith play a part for you in that time? Did you have any faith, or was it something else?
I think it's the only thing that is. It's the faith is the last thing that leaves you. Do you say that in English as well?
Yeah.
It's in Swedish, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I always say, and also what you said that about, people always ask me what was the defining moment, and I don't think there is one defining moment. I think it's a lot of changes. When you release yourself, you are open for the change that is happening on its own. You don't have to do anything. And I think that's the part of it. There is not just one part. As you said, it's months and years, and it grows and it gets stronger. And sorry, what was the question? I get so excited because you say so great stuff, so I get so excited.
Oh, bless you. No, it was just to say, how important was faith for you in that moment? And you said, obviously it was the last thing to leave. So is that what you would say, when everything else seemed to leave you, did you just think, but I have faith? And when I talk about faith, by the way, I'm not talking about religion necessarily. This isn't about, pushing one idea over another. I just think, to me, faith is just the inner knowing that there has to be something better than this. That I have that, or there has to be a reason for why I'm going through this. There has, to me, that's what faith is. And, I think that's what I clung to. And that was literally what maybe nudged me the other way. It was like, this cannot be all for nothing. It just can't be.
Yes. That's the exact reason why I kept living.
Right.
And it sounds so hard or maybe dark when I say kept living, or choose to end the life or create your life. But it's also not. It's the reason I kept doing my life was because I didn't know why I knew this, but I knew I did it because I was supposed to share my story and make other people feel better about their own lives, to save other people.
Amazing.
That was the whole reason, as you said. What reason? It was everyone else kept me alive.
Yeah, and you're doing that right now, because you're speaking to, this podcast has been downloaded thousands of times, and I'm sure there are people listening who have either been in that place, maybe they're in that place right now, or at least in a place where they're feeling very lonely, very lost, and your story is helping them to see that there's hope and helping to give some meaning to it. Because I think it can be so difficult to take when you've gone through something like that. I imagine it must be so hard to think, like, what's the reason for that? Like, why me? You know, why was that part of my story, and why did I choose it? And I think you are a walking, talking proof that when we tell our stories, we heal ourselves, but we heal the world around us as well. It's never just about us. It's never just a single thing. It's, you know, it's far reaching. And you know, you are still processing, you know, you're obviously still on your journey. You're still living your life, and that is the journey. But now you're sharing your story without shame and without fear, and you're giving a voice to these people who maybe aren't in that place yet. And that needs to be commended. You know, I take my hat off to you, and my heart sees yours. I think that's a beautiful thing to be doing. And my hope is that more people have the strength to do that, because I think that's how we're going to change the world. I really do.
Yes, because it's not about what you have been through. It's not about you have the more right to have anxiety if you've been through this or that. It's all the same stuff that puts shame on you, or it creates so many other things in your life that it's really bad. Like my economy was so bad for a lot of years. I was one day from getting kicked out of my house. I was literally in the deepest depth of the worst financially economy situation I could ever find myself in, and all of that because I wasn't true to myself, and I was ashamed, and all of that, the depression, everything. So it's just not one thing happening and then you deal with that and then it's over. It's so many years and so many thoughts and so many things that just add up to this. So if I could say just one thing, please don't be ashamed of your own story. Don't be ashamed of what's happening, because it's not it's not defining who you're going to be for the rest of your life.
And you've just touched on something that I say a lot as well, which is that the how can I put it? It's well, certainly from I always struggle to say this because I think I can't speak for anybody else who's going through anxiety, but certainly for me, my anxiety seemed to lessen when I found my own voice, and when I realized like what I was here for, and when I got onto my path, then it was like, you know, when I fell into alignment and when I started showing up for me and doing the things that lit up my soul, the anxiety naturally dissipated. And I really believe that the anxiety showed up almost as a beacon to say, oh, okay, well, that's fine, but did you know that you're a little bit off course at the moment? This isn't why you're here. And, you know, you should be here, and now you're over there doing that. And when you're ready, you're going to come back and you're going to feel a hell of a lot better. I think, you know, anxiety shows up when we're out of alignment, and when we've maybe lost sight of how powerful we really are and why we're here. And even just the very fact that by the fact you're here on this planet, you matter, and you are relevant, and you're worthy, and there's a purpose. Like, not one person was put here for no reason. You know, nobody came here by accident. There's a purpose.
Yes, because often I love how you put it, and it's so beautiful, your words and everything you say, and it's just like that. It's when you have anxiety and you feel depressed and you feel the darkness inside of you, and then you're supposed to feel like, oh wow, I put on an affirmation that I'm supposed to be very happy and earn $100 million tomorrow, and like the step is huge, and from the inside and out. But then when you just break it down to, it's not supposed to be anything. It's not to be good or bad. Just supposed to be you. That's it. You're just supposed to be you. Nothing else. Nothing defines you more than just you being you. And as you said, you come back to alignment. I love when you said that. Yeah. Thank you for the words.
Oh, no, bless you. I think, we're completely on the same page. And I think you're so right. All you have to do is be your beautiful self. There really is nothing else to do. And anxiety shows up when you get in this mindset of, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. And like, you know, and like, yes, I've set these massive goals. And quite often when we do that, and I'm a huge fan of goal setting, by the way, I love dreaming big. But I've definitely noticed that often when I would do that, it would then be followed up with a whole bunch of ways of me reminding myself that I'm not that person yet, and that therefore I failed in all these ways, and that in order for me to get this rosy, shiny life that I want, I have to change everything that I am from the inside out, because I'm not good enough to have it yet. And it's actually the complete opposite, isn't it? Like you're an amazing, beautiful soul as you are, and that's all you ever have to be. And you know, the I suppose the tangible rewards or the materialistic rewards, perhaps like the earth level rewards, like money, house, car, job, whatever it may be, that stuff shows up when you show up for yourself. There's a coach I follow who I talk about all the time, and she was actually a guest on this podcast a month or so ago, called Katrina Ruth. And she says something like, when you say yes to your soul, life says yes to you. And it's like, that's all you have to do, is just be yourself and love yourself and realize that you're already enough. And, you know, if you've got a list as long as your arm of things you think you have to do before you get to be happy, you can throw that list away. That's not how it works. You can actually, you get to be happy just by the fact that you are yourself. I know, though, that for people hearing that for the first time, that in itself will feel like a big jump, and it might be hard to believe that that's the case. So how do you work with people when they come to you? How do you take somebody initially who's feeling all of those things and feeling like, you know, like there's very little hope? How do you get, like, what's the first step that you would give them, or the first few steps that you would give someone, so that they can start to feel a little bit better about where they're at?
Yes, because that's what it's all about, how the feeling of it all, because you're so stuck in feeling down all the time, and then you try so hard at feeling positive and cheerful when you're around people, and then when you're alone, you're so tired because you tried so hard to please other people. And so I try to get people just to, I think that's one of my strengths, that it's automatically people feel relaxed when they are in my environment, in my energy. So it brings them to just calm down and take the judgment off. Because I say, it's not about being good or bad, or it's not about having an opinion or how it should be, or it's not about you being you, how do you want to be, and then you have to create yourself to come up with, well, I want to be this, I want to have this, a lot of money, I want to look like. It's nothing about that. It's just, how do you want to feel? Have you ever been in love? How did that feel? And it can be so scary for someone who have felt been in a dark place for a long time, and then to locate those feelings again. So if it's of course it depends on the person I meet on, and in which stress level they are at the moment. But I want to get people to know that, get out of your head and into your feelings. Don't be scared. As you said before, you had to almost avoid your feelings about your anxiety, the bad feelings. You didn't want to acknowledge them.
Right, yeah. Yeah, they were scary. I wanted to run away. I thought it was something terrible to have, and that it made me a bad person, and that and I worried what would happen if I gave it any attention at all. I just thought, wow, what would happen if I actually let that stuff out? Like, you know, what would then happen? And it was, you know, real fear around that. So what happened when you let it out? Well, none of the awful stuff that I thought. Yeah, none of the awful stuff I thought. It turned out that actually it was in hypnosis that this came about, and the way she explained it to me afterwards was because she got me to describe. First of all, she got me to describe my my what I called my kind of light, shiny, golden side. So all the positivity and like everything that comes out of me that I choose, I had to describe that. So that was this big, shiny, golden kind of being that I saw. And then she said, but there's this other part of you. What does that look like? And it was a very big, spiky black, almost like a transformer, like very boxy and metallic and, you know, and looming. And she got me to do this exercise where I put my hands up so my palms were facing her. And through the work she did, and I can't remember what she said, but I was under hypnosis, so she was giving like these suggestions. And my hands started to turn towards each other, and each hand represented the different sides of me. And the purpose of the exercise is the hands face each other and then you bring them together. So when you come out of the hypnosis, your hands are actually clasped together. My hands stayed apart for a very long time. She said, like, it was literally like my light, shiny side was as strong as the dark side, and neither one was going to give up their territory. Like, each one was like, nope, nope. And in the end, they did come together, because the whole point was you need both. There's actually beauty in both, and you need to allow both out, and not restrict it. And I think it's this whole idea of being in resistance. Any resistance at all is going to block your flow, and when you block your flow, the anxiety is going to show up. So, I mean, you know, essentially what happened was nothing really. Like, to the world around me, nothing changed. Like, I haven't suddenly become this awful, horrible person. Maybe, though, I'm not as afraid to speak my truth. And I know, you know, some of the blog posts that I've written since have been very, very honest and raw. And I know, like, you know, a couple of people who know me well are like, God, blimey, that was a bit deep, Lil. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm now letting that out. You know, I wrote one, actually. I was sat in Cafe Nero, and I just felt so sad that day. I don't know why. And well, actually, I do know why now. It turns out I was pregnant and extremely hormonal, but I didn't know it at the time. And I was just sat openly crying my eyes out, shoving chocolate cake in my face to try and make myself feel better. But in that moment, so whereas before I would have hidden that, so I wouldn't have cried in public, number one, I'd have gone home and done it on my own, and I wouldn't have told anybody. But this day, I sat openly in Cafe Nero, I cried my eyes out, I ate chocolate cake, and I wrote a blog post from that place, because I thought, do you know what? I feel like shit, but maybe if I write about it, it's going to help someone else. And maybe even me, maybe I'll read this back on another day where I don't feel so hot, and maybe it will help. And it was one of the best blog posts that I've written, because I shone a light into the dark corner and was like, do you know what? I see you, so let's have it. Let's get it all out. What is it that you're so afraid of? And obviously, once you let that stuff out, you realise that really there isn't very much substance to it. There's very little evidence to back up the fears that you're having and the beliefs. And so when you do that, you instantly feel better and you feel lighter. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to go and write a blog post and publish it on the internet, because obviously that's going quite big. And not everyone would feel comfortable to do that. But you can unleash in a journal, you know, or you can speak to a friend, or even, you know, we have the Confidence Academy, you can get in there and talk to somebody. I just think when you let that stuff out, you get to move forward. You get to take that next step that you were so unsure of how you would do it. So, I love this because you're talking about the dark side and the light side, and we have not just one side. We have so many sides, and use them. Like, use all of your sides and mix them, and no judgment at all, because you're going nowhere if you judge. It is what it is, and nothing more. It's not good, it's not bad. I say it all the time. It's not good, it's not bad. It just is. It just is. Yeah. It just and
is.
It doesn't make you bad. I had this fear that I was this awful person, because it was like my guilty secret, like my skeleton in the closet. Like, oh my God, if people actually knew the thoughts that go through my mind sometimes, or the way that I feel sometimes, they would just think, they wouldn't, a big belief of mine was they wouldn't think I'm as nice as they do. Like people wouldn't like me if they really knew what I was like. That was it. And can you imagine how damaging it is to say that to yourself over and over and over again? Like actually every relationship you've got means nothing, because if these people really knew you, then they wouldn't want to know. Like that's so, you would never say that to your child, would you?
No,
or to your best friend. And yet we say it to ourselves. And so really oddly for me though, I think the blogs that I write from that dark place are my best blogs. They're the ones that get people in the soul. And then somebody comes back and they're like, oh my God, that really helped. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, because you are in the zone. You are like, I'm not holding back 100%. Because I think often we hold back in our golden zones, in our happy zones, because we don't want to be overly happy, because who will judge us? So maybe it's easier for just to go balls out in the dark zone, because that's more legit many of the time also. But it's I totally agree. And I was thinking about what you said earlier, and I see this, how I came out of it, the deep depression and the anxiety attacks. They come and they go, but only a few times, a few moments every year, and almost never now, thank you. And when they come, I just let them come, and then I live on my life either way. But I see everything as just situations. Like if something happened, it's just a situation, and then I move on. And if I'm sitting here and having an anxiety attack, the attack is just, the anxiety is just a situation, but I'm still 100%. Me is always 100%. I'm always whole. I'm never broken, because I cannot be broken, because I'm always 100%.
Yeah.
So I don't take it personally when I have an anxiety attack. I just know it's a message, or maybe it's not a message, but it's just there. And sometimes I want to know why it's there, and sometimes I don't want to know why it's there. So I'm like, hello, I see you. Talk to you soon. And then
thanks for showing up. Let me know when you're done. I'll be over here.
I know it's not easy. I know it's not, but you have to just be patient with it, and just be relaxed with it, and just take your time with it, and share.
I love that concept of, you just remove the emotion from it. You don't get emotional on top of everything else. You don't need to get emotional about it. It's like, oh, okay, this is my reality right now. This is what I say to people, like, you know, some days you will have the strength to overcome your anxiety attack. Some days you will want to say your affirmations, or do your tapping, or, you know, put a meditation on, or go for a walk, whatever you need to do. And then other days you won't. Other days you want to sit in that, and everyththing is fine. It's all good, because you're always okay. And that's what you mean when you say, I'm never broken, I'm always whole. It means that ultimately you're okay. And actually anxiety stems from the belief that you're not okay. So even just reminding yourself that, you know, do you know what? I love myself anyway. I'm all right. This is going to be fine. You take the sting out of the tail straight away, because actually the anxiety showed up because for a minute you forgot you were okay. So when you remind yourself that you are, and that's at a soul level. I'm not saying that you're necessarily going to feel okay if they're about to come and repossess your house or your car, or like on a human level. No, that sucks. That's going to feel like shit. But on a soul, but your soul is okay. And when you can tap back into that, there's nothing that you can't face in that space. And actually, then when you remove the fear and the panic, you normally then can come up with ways to cope with the situation better anyway. And then generally, it never becomes as bad as you feared that it would, because now you're calm and you're thinking up, you know, solutions, and then you're taking positive steps, and you're feeling empowered as a result. So amazing stuff. This has been a really powerful interview, I have to say.
I had so much fun, and you and your cute baby. What's her name?
She's called Sophia. She's fast asleep on my... Well, I say fast asleep. She's, you know, this is the troll face. No one else can see, but you can. She's sleeping. Bless her heart. No, you've been absolutely amazing, and I think your energy is beautiful. I see what you mean. I can totally see why people are pulled to work with you, because your soul is just gorgeous. You're a gorgeous,
Thank you,
gorgeous
and likewise.
human.
Thank you, likewise.
So, as always, how I finish all these interviews is I ask you the question: if you had a megaphone and the ability to reach every anxiety sufferer in the world right now, what would you want those people to know?
I would scream my lungs out, relax, relax, relax. That would be my ultimate word, is always relax. In every situation, relax and breathe, relax. Not in a relax, maybe boring stuff, normal stuff. More relax, just people surrender. People say surrender, and some people do release and surrender, but I do relax, and I feel a little bit, you can see my sweater, my top is very loose. So I would say surrender, relax. Just relax. It's gonna be fine, everything, relax.
Just breathe first. Just breathe. Take another breath, one more breath, and then see where you're at, and then another breath and see where you're at. Amazing advice. Dance around a little bit and just relax, and then move on and have your anxiety attack. It's okay to have an anxiety attack. You're safe. That's awesome advice. I love that. And so if anybody wanted to reach out, obviously we're going to get you into the Facebook group for anyone who wants to chat in there, but if they wanted to reach you to discuss this episode further, or to find out if they wanted to work with you, how would somebody reach you? What's the best way to do that? So the best way, I think, is just go to my Instagram page, and you will find every info there. So it's my Insta name is Fab Carol. So it's FABCARRO. So FABCARRO. Awesome. And we'll obviously link to that in the show notes as well. I'll get you to send me that link. That's amazing. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Sweden. Yay! Thank you so much for having me. This has been my first podcast interview. It's been amazing. The first of many, I'm sure. You're hugely inspiring, and good luck with the books and with all of the work. And I think you're a beautiful soul, as I said, and I'm really honoured that you came on today. Thank you. Thank you. And to everybody listening, thank you for joining us once again. Remember, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it. I'll be back again with another episode very, very soon. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Lots and lots of love. And I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved it, please make sure you subscribe and leave us a comment over on iTunes to make sure you never miss an episode. And for additional resources, masterclasses with our guest experts, and weekly live coaching with me, why not join us as a member of the Lilli Club? You can find all of the details in the show notes of this episode. In the meantime, thank you again, and we'll be back soon. Big love.